All right, guys, welcome back to the Nisi Gal show. A few things actually to discuss because there's a lot actually going on at the moment. Let's just have a quick look at this article. US predicts attack by Iran against Israel as Iranian sources brief Washington officials on nature of response. Washington officials expect Iran to attack Israel in retaliation to a strike on its embassy in Syria, as the US says it's not to be drawn into a wider war, and Tehran suggests its response will be non-escalatory. Right. So what's basically the background behind this? A few days ago, Israel struck a consulate in Damascus. The consulate belonged to the Iranians and actually had an Iranian general and a few other consulate staff within the building. All 7 people died, including the general. Now, we've seen this sort of tit-for-tat response between Hezbollah and Israel, cross-border skirmishes. We have seen sort of inter-proxy strikes between Israel, the US, and the proxies, but this is the first time we've actually seen a proper strike from Israel onto Iran itself. And technically, the consulate is part of Iranian territory, as all embassies across the world are. Now, this is a big problem, and I've sort of detailed this in my when we had previous discussions about this topic. Is I feel that Israel and the US want war with Iran. Otherwise, there would be no reason to do such a thing. They know that response will have to be a response will have to be made by Iran. Otherwise, they will seem weak. And if they do respond, then that will give Israel the pretext to fully attack Iran, which would then push the USA to attack Iran. And there we go. We have a whole regional war. No doubt the Russians will not want the Iranians to be destroyed. You have other configurations, China, you don't know what's going to happen. There's a whole sort of seismic board that shifts as soon as one big event happens. And the same happened in World War II. So I don't understand the rationale behind it from a Western perspective. Is war the best thing that should be going on right now? Because it appears that Israel definitely wants the war because they want that hegemony in the Middle East. They want to remove all the proxies from the region. They want to have be the most dominant power within the region, and they feel like they can't actually destroy or remove the Palestinians fully without removing Iranians themselves. Now that comes with a whole host of problems because I don't think this is a war that they can necessarily win. They do have the nuclear option, but supposedly so does Iran. They've been at that stage where they've had all the quote unquote ingredients for the nuclear weapon, but they've kind of waited and not really pushed the button on the nuclear program and created a full nuclear warhead yet. But I mean, if war's on the horizon and they're striking Iran, I'm sure that they can, accelerate that process. Now, that's just mutually assured destruction. So we'll keep an eye on this as it moves forward. But yeah, these are some dangerous times at the moment. But let's have a look at also another article from the BBC, which is also very interesting. So Biden vows ironclad support for Israel amid Iran attack fears. Okay. So President Joe Biden has promised Israel ironclad US support amid fears that Tehran could launch reprisals for an attack that killed senior Iranians. He warned that Iran is threatened to launch a significant attack after it blamed Israel for a strike on its consulate. We're going to do all we can to protect Israel's security. And, Ayatollah Khamenei said that when they attacked our consulate area, it was like they attacked our territory. So it seems like the US is all behind this. They're ready to go and back Israel to the hilt. Now, this brings up a whole new sort of question of, is this a war that the Americans themselves want to fight? What's the motivation behind it? I'm sure that they would love to destroy Iran, but it won't come at an insignificant cost to Israel itself. Would have itself destroyed. It's mutually assured destruction because Iran has an insane amount of warheads. that could destroy Tel Aviv and all these other cities within Israel within days. You have Hezbollah, which is a huge military that makes Hamas look like, a pony. Uh, you also have Turkey. Nobody knows exactly what they're going to do, despite the fact that they're part of NATO. People don't, their loyalties don't seem aligned with the Western countries as much, and they are the second largest military in NATO. So there's a lot to consider, and I don't think this is a good idea at all. I think the US would be damaged from terrorist attacks on its soil as well, no doubt, with the open border, and it will create a whole bunch of instability that nobody needs. But it seems like all the neocons, especially the Israelis, all the globalists really want this war. This is the new Iraq War 0.2, except I don't think it will go the same way as the Iraq War went. But we'll keep an eye on that conflict, and we'll let you know how things go moving.